Tomorrow night, the sky above your head will go dark. Not in the way it does every evening when the sun slips below the horizon. Tomorrow night, the full moon, the brightest light in your night sky, will slowly, silently bleed red as the shadow of the Earth swallows it whole. This is the last total lunar eclipse before 2029, and you have less than 24 hours to prepare for what it is about to unleash. On March the 3rd, at exactly 6:04 in the morning Eastern Time, the moon will cross into the deepest part of Earth's shadow at 12 degrees of Virgo. For 58 minutes, every ray of sunlight that reaches the lunar surface will first pass through the atmosphere of our planet, bending, scattering, filtering out every color except red. What you will see hanging in the western sky is not the moon you know. It is the collected light of every sunrise and every sunset happening on Earth at that exact moment, painted across 3,000 miles of ancient rock. And this is not just any eclipse. This is the final blood moon in a series that has been reshaping the axis between Virgo and Pisces since September of 2024. After tomorrow night, the sky will not produce another total lunar eclipse for nearly 3 years. The next one falls on New Year's Eve, 2028. What happens in the next 58 minutes of totality is the closing chapter of a cosmic story that has been writing itself across your life for 18 months. In the next few minutes, you are going to discover 3 things. First, what this blood moon is actually doing to your body right now, even before it arrives. Second, the hidden astronomical sequence that makes this eclipse far more powerful than anyone is telling you. And third, a 5-night preparation ritual that will allow you to harness the full force of this eclipse instead of being swept away by it. This is not entertainment. This is a transmission, and it begins now. Let me tell you something that most people will never understand. Your body knew this eclipse was coming before your mind did. Days before the moon even enters Earth's shadow, the shift has already begun. And if you have been paying attention to what is happening inside you, you already have the proof. Think about the last week. The sleep that will not come, or the sleep that comes too deep, pulling you under like a current you cannot fight. The dreams that feel less like dreams and more like visitations, faces you have not seen in years surfacing behind your closed eyes as if they are trying to tell you something before time runs out. The tightness in your chest that has no medical explanation. The sudden tears over nothing. The strange, electric restlessness in your hands, as if your fingers are reaching for something your conscious mind cannot yet name. This is not anxiety. This is not stress. This is your body responding to a gravitational conversation between 3 celestial bodies that weighs more than everything you have ever known combined. The Earth, the Sun, and the Moon are aligning into a formation so precise that the shadow of our entire planet will fall across the lunar surface for nearly 1 full hour. And your body, which is 60% water, which carries the same minerals found in ancient ocean floors, which runs on electrical impulses no different from lightning, is already resonating with the pull. But here is what nobody is telling you. This eclipse is not arriving alone. It is the second act of a sequence that has already begun. 14 days ago, on February the 17th, an annular solar eclipse carved a ring of fire across the skies of Antarctica, a place where almost no human eyes could witness it. That eclipse, and this one, are not separate events. They are 2 halves of the same cosmic sentence, spoken 14 days apart during what astronomers call an eclipse season, a 35-day window where the geometry of the Sun, Earth, and Moon creates the conditions for consecutive eclipses. The solar eclipse was the inhale. Tomorrow night is the exhale. And everything between has been the held breath. Now zoom out further. This blood moon belongs to a family, not a metaphorical family, a literal astronomical lineage called Saros 133. This is a cycle that was first decoded not by modern scientists, but by Chaldean astronomers in ancient Babylon over 2,500 years ago. They sat on rooftops above the Euphrates, pressing eclipse records into wet clay tablets, and they discovered that every 6,585 days, the moon, the Earth, and the Sun returned to almost exactly the same positions. The same geometry, the same shadow, the same blood-red light. This cycle, which they called the SAR, spans 1,262 years from its first eclipse to its last. Saros 133 was born on May the 13th, 1557, and it will not die until June of 2819. Tomorrow night, you are witnessing one heartbeat in a pulse that has been beating for nearly 5 centuries and will continue for 8 more. Let that settle into your bones for a moment. You are not watching a random astronomical event. You are standing inside a rhythm that was ancient before your great-grandparents were born and will still be unfolding long after the last person who remembers your name has turned to dust. The Chaldeans understood this. They did not see eclipses as spectacles. They saw them as letters in a language the sky was writing across generations, and they believed that those who could read that language held the power to shape what came next. Now bring the lens back to your life. This blood moon falls at 12 degrees of Virgo, directly opposing the sun in Pisces. This is the axis of purification. Virgo, the sign of the body, the healer, the one who separates what is essential from what is excess. Pisces, the sign of the spirit, the dreamer, the one who dissolves boundaries between the seen and the unseen. When a total lunar eclipse activates this axis, it does not ask polite questions. It tears the curtain. It forces you to look at the gap between how you are living and how you know you should be living. Between the story you tell the world and the truth that keeps you awake at 3 in the morning. And this particular eclipse carries an additional weight that makes it unlike any other blood moon you have experienced. Mercury, the ruler of Virgo, the planet that governs your thoughts, your words, your decisions, is retrograde. It has been moving backward through Pisces, stirring the sediment at the bottom of your psyche, pulling up conversations you thought were finished, decisions you thought were settled, feelings you thought you had buried deep enough. Mercury retrograde during a total lunar eclipse in its own sign is not a coincidence. It is a combination that has not occurred on this axis in decades. And it means that whatever this eclipse reveals, it will not be new information. It will be something you have known for a long time, but refuse to look at directly. There is more. Jupiter, the largest planet in our solar system, a body so massive it could swallow 1,300 Earths and still have room, is forming a harmonious angle to both the Sun and the Moon from the sign of Cancer. Jupiter is the great amplifier. Whatever this eclipse touches, Jupiter expands. Whatever door cracks open, Jupiter kicks wide. In Cancer, the sign of home, roots, family, and emotional foundations, this expansion reaches into the deepest chambers of your private world, the places you do not show anyone, the rooms in your inner house where the old furniture still sits, covered in dust, exactly where you left it years ago when you decided it was easier to close the door than to clean. This is the architecture of tomorrow night, a total lunar eclipse closing an 18-month cycle along the most intimate axis of the zodiac. Mercury retrograde dissolving the walls between past and present. Jupiter expanding everything the eclipse illuminates, and all of it unfolding within an eclipse season that began with a ring of fire over the most uninhabited continent on Earth, as if the cosmos wanted to rehearse in private before performing for the world. But none of this matters if you do not understand what it means for your body. Because this eclipse will not just happen in the sky, it will happen in your chest, in your throat, in the pit of your stomach where you store everything you have swallowed instead of spoken. Virgo rules the nervous system, the intestines, the body's ability to sort and process. When a blood moon floods this sign with its crimson light, some people may feel it as digestive disruption, an unsettled stomach that no food seems to fix. Others may feel it in their hands, a tremor, a need to hold something, to make something, to physically reorganize their space. Others still may feel a sudden, almost overwhelming clarity, as if a fog they did not realize they were living in has lifted in a single breath. The ancients who tracked eclipses did not separate body from sky. To the priests who watched the heavens from the ziggurats of Mesopotamia, the human body was a mirror of the cosmos. What moved above moved within. What bled in the sky bled in the soul. They would have recognized what you are feeling right now. They would have called it by its true name, awakening. And that awakening is asking something of you. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. Because in less than 24 hours, the moon will enter the shadow, and whatever you carry into that shadow is what will be transformed inside it. The question is not whether this eclipse will reach you. It will. The The question is whether you will walk into that shadow prepared, with your eyes open and your feet planted, or whether you will let it wash over you like a wave over someone who never learned to swim. What I am about to share with you is a 5-night preparation protocol, not a suggestion, not a gentle idea to consider when you find the time. This is a structured sequence designed to carry you into the heart of those 58 minutes of totality, with your roots in the ground and your chest open. Each night carries a different purpose. Each night builds on the one before, and if you follow this faithfully, you will not be the same person when the moon emerges from the shadow as you were when it entered. Night 1. Tonight. The night of stillness. Before midnight, find a place in your home where you can sit alone. Not your bed, not the place where you watch anything. A chair, the floor, a corner you have not sat in for years. Bring nothing with you, no sound, no light except what comes through the window. Sit there for 11 minutes. Why 11? Because 11 is the number of years in the sunspot cycle, the rhythm that governs the magnetic pulse of the star that gives you life. 11 minutes of silence begins the process of clearing the noise that is built up in your nervous system like sediment in a river. You are not meditating. You are simply allowing your body to remember what stillness feels like before the cosmos asks it to move. Night 2. Tomorrow evening. The night of release. This is the night the moon begins its journey into shadow. Before the penumbral eclipse begins at 3:44 in the morning Eastern Time, you are going to write. Take a real piece of paper, not anything with a screen. Feel the weight of the pen between your fingers, and write one sentence that begins with these words. The lie I have been telling myself is, do not think about it, do not edit, do not write what sounds noble or brave. Write the truth, the raw, ugly, unsophisticated truth that you have been swallowing for months or maybe years. The one that tightens your throat when you even think about saying it out loud. Write it. Then fold the paper once. Place it under a glass of water and leave it there overnight. Water is a conductor. It carries frequency. By morning, that glass will hold the weight of your honesty, and you will pour it into the earth, into a plant, onto soil, returning the lie to the ground so something true can grow from the space it occupied. Night 3. The night of the blood. This is the night of the eclipse itself. If you are on the West Coast, totality begins at 3:04 in the morning Pacific Time. If you are on the East Coast, it begins at 6:04 in the morning Eastern Time. Either way, find the moon. Step outside, even if it is cold, even if you are tired, even if every comfortable part of you wants to stay under the covers. Find the western horizon and watch. You do not need a telescope. You do not need anything except your eyes and the willingness to stand still while the Earth's shadow swallows the brightest light in your sky. During those 58 minutes, hold one question in your mind. Not a wish, not a demand, a question. What am I ready to become? Do not answer it. Let the question sit inside you like a seed dropped into freshly turned soil. The eclipse will water it. The answer will come in the days that follow, not in words but in shifts. A door that opens, a conversation that arrives, a knowing that settles into your chest like something returning home. Night 4. The night of the hands. The evening after the eclipse. Your body will feel different. Some of you will feel lighter, as if something heavy was removed while you slept. Others will feel raw, tender, like skin after a bandage is finally peeled away. Tonight, you work with your hands. Build something, repair something, knead bread, arrange stones, repot a plant, fold and organize a drawer that has been in chaos for longer than you want to admit. The specific task does not matter. What matters is that your hands are touching the physical world with intention. Virgo is the sign of sacred labor, of finding the divine in the act of making order from disorder. When you work with your hands the night after a Virgo eclipse, you are not doing a chore. You are anchoring the new frequency into your physical reality. You are telling the universe that you are ready to build. Night 5. The night of the voice. 2 nights after the eclipse. This is the final seal. On this night, you speak, out loud, alone. You say to the empty room the thing that this eclipse has shown you. It might be a boundary you need to set. It might be a truth you need to accept. It might be a name you need to stop calling yourself. Whatever it is, say it. not in a whisper, not in your head, with your full voice, the way you would speak if you were standing on a cliff and needed the valley below to hear you. Sound is vibration. Vibration is frequency. And frequency, when spoken with intention into the open air, becomes a contract between you and the field of energy that holds all things together. The Chaldeans who first mapped these eclipse cycles did not just observe the sky in silence. They spoke to it. They understood that the human voice, aimed at the heavens with conviction, is the oldest instrument of creation. Now let me tell you which of you will feel this eclipse most deeply. If you were born under the signs of Virgo, Pisces, Gemini, or Sagittarius, and especially if you carry planets between 8 and 18 degrees of these signs, this blood moon is speaking directly to you. It is reaching into the foundation of your chart and pulling at the threads. If you are a Virgo, this eclipse lands on your very identity. It is asking you to look in the mirror and ask whether the person staring back is the real one or the carefully constructed version you built so the world would approve. The mask has served you well, but masks restrict the breath, and this eclipse is demanding that you breathe fully for the first time in longer than you can remember. If you are a Pisces, the eclipse illuminates your closest partnerships, the relationships where you have poured so much water that your own well has run dry. Jupiter in Cancer is offering you permission to come home to yourself, to fill your own cup before you pour into anyone else's. If you are a Gemini, this eclipse rattles the axis of your roots and your public face. Something about where you live, where you come from, or where you are headed is being called into question. Do not resist the tremor. The ground is not breaking beneath you. It is rearranging itself to support a taller structure. If you are a Sagittarius, the blood moon falls in your house of career and calling. The thing you have been doing because it was safe is being weighed against the thing you were born to do. Jupiter, your ruling planet, is giving you the courage to choose the bigger life. But courage without action is just a feeling. This eclipse wants more than feelings. It wants a decision. For everyone else, this eclipse still touches your chart. No one stands outside the shadow when the Earth blocks the light. Look at which house 12 degrees of Virgo falls in your natal chart, and you will find the room in your life where the door is about to open or close. But here is what I need you to understand before we go any further. This eclipse is not the end of the story. It is the end of one chapter and the first breath of the next. The Virgo and Pisces axis has been activated by eclipses since September of 2024. 5 eclipses across 18 months, each one peeling back another layer, each one bringing you closer to a version of yourself that cannot be held together with old glue. This is the 5th. The one that does not ask you to think anymore. The one that says, it is time. And so here you stand, on the edge of a shadow that has been traveling toward you for 18 months. 5 eclipses, 5 invitations to shed what is false. Tomorrow night, the final door on this axis swings open. And what waits on the other side is not something the cosmos will hand you. It is something you must walk toward with your own legs, your own breath, your own unborrowed courage. You are not the same person who started watching this video. Something has already shifted. A thought has surfaced, a name, a memory, a truth you have been circling for longer than you want to admit. That is the eclipse working before it even arrives, the way the tide begins to pull long before the wave is visible from shore. I want you to sit with something. Empires have risen under blood-red moons and crumbled before the next one arrived. But the sky keeps turning, and every person who ever stood beneath a darkened moon and made a decision from the deepest chamber of their being changed the trajectory of everything that followed. Not because the moon gave them power, but because the moon showed them what they already carried. That is what tomorrow night is offering you. Not magic, not rescue. A mirror. The rarest kind, one that only appears when the earth, the sun, and the moon align so precisely that every false light is extinguished and only what is real remains. 58 minutes. That is all you get. What you do with them is the only question that matters. If something stirred inside you while listening, write it in the comments, because your words may be the exact sign someone else needs tonight. If someone in your life needs this,
You already know who. Send it to them.
Subscribe and turn on notifications because tomorrow night we go deeper into those 58 minutes that will not happen again for 3 years. Every video here takes hours of research, and your like, comment, and share keeps this work alive. The universe has spoken. What comes next is in your hands.